and the capital of the country was called Asgard. The ruler there was the one whose name was Odin. And then about the Indo-European possessions in Asia Minor. A great mountain range stretches from northeast to southwest, the Ural Mountains, which are now considered the border of Europe and Asia. In the Urals, a sacred city of the Aryans, Arkheim. It separates the Great Sweden, Scythia, from other countries. Not far south of it is the land of the Turks, where Odin had large estates. In Circle of the Earth, we read that one day Odin saw himself as the ruler of a far north country in a dream and moved to his destination. But he did not come from Asia Minor, but from his capital city of Asgard. His path lay westward through the Ragnarök. However, uninvited guests were not allowed there, and the army of Aces had to make a decent detour to the northern Black Sea. And from there, it was possible to fight through Denmark, then to Odin's, which in translation means the sanctuary of Odin, off the coast of the island Finn in Denmark. After this, Odin was on the island of Zealand, and having crossed from it through the narrow Zund Strait, he reached Sweden and settled in the old synagogues. Here Odin lived for the last years, became ill, and died. According to tradition, the priests of Asa burned the body of the chief on a fire. The fire was rising, and a pillar of smoke was raised to the highest heavens, and the sacred ash of Yggdrasil was like a pillar of smoke. The spectacle impressed people so much that they proclaimed Odin a god. In the saga about Ingolani, Sturluson, an Icelander and a Christian, notes with irony, the Swedes decided that he had returned to ancient Asgard and would live there forever. Odin was believed and addressed again. He often came before great battles. Some he granted victory and others took with him. Both were considered good. After the death of Odin, the new northern homeland, small Sweden, ruled Veles. They began to prosper before the wild land. The Roman scholar Pliny the Elder wrote in his Natural History about Hyperboreus as follows. Beyond these mountains, on the other side of Aquila, there is a happy people called the Hesperorites, who reach a very advanced age and are famous for their wonderful legends. They believe that there are the loops of peace and the limits of their turn are shining. The sun shines there for half a year, and it is only one day when the sun does not hide from the spring equinox until autumn. The lights there rise only once in the year at the summer solstice, and they only come in winter. The houses for these residents are surrounded by groves, forests, and the cult of the gods is managed by individual people and the whole society. Death comes there only from the hunger for life. There is no doubt about the existence of this people. Altland or Hyperborea were inhabited by tall blonde people with blue eyes, Aces. As a result of tectonic movements, Altland died. The exodus of the Isa from their ancestral home, presumably, occurred 2,000 years BC. They were moving in the direction of the Ural Mountains. According to one of the legends, Odin ordered a ship to be built and, accompanied by loyal men, went in search of the northern lands. In Asgard, the capital of the Assos, Onesh left his brothers We and Vili to rule. The ships of Odin reached the North Sea, and at that time still existed the island of Thule. And already from there, the Aces began their expansion to the lands of Scandinavia. All summer the sun was covered with clouds, as if it did not want to see the earth. The wind rested in its cave, and the fog and clouds stood like pillars above the houses and the marshes. The fire broke out, the mountains fell, and other mountains fell down. And where the ground was before, there were rocky gorges and mountain ridges. The Altland, so called by the sailors, sank, and the wild hate still roamed over the mountains and valleys until it hid itself in the deep sea. The earth had lived like this for 3 years. When it got better, we could see the consequences of the disaster. Many countries have drowned, others have risen from the sea. Chronicles of Uralinda, an ancient cultural monument, miraculously survived until our times. It has been repeatedly supplemented by various people and rewritten, so the chronology of the book could be disrupted.